Welcome back, YouTube, to another money per hour video. So today we're going to be looking at Tungrad Ruins and looking at everything that you mostly need to know for the spot, such as the location, the mechanics, the loot. Also, if you haven't checked out my most recent video on like the top grind spots to grind at in 2025 post July patch, highly recommend you checking that out. And of course, got to throw in my normal disclaimer, but you may be checking out the spot for the first time, so your money per hour may be a little less until you get efficient. And that's kind of what this video is kind of catered to. And I'm not perfect, so if I happen to leave anything out that you think is important for the spot, please let us know down in the comments. But with all of that out of the way, let's jump right on in. All right, so this spot is going to be located in Ulakita. So if I pull up the map here, we can see that Tungrad Ruins is right here, and it encompasses a pretty large area, right? You can kind of clearly see that. I would say that there's probably four main spots that you could go and do in this area, and I'll probably just kind of pop up a picture here and just kind of show you where they're at. The one that I'm going to be showing you today is probably considered the main one, which is like right here, and the rotation is going to be in this spot right here. So let me kind of zoom out. Let me show you that rotation real quick. So I usually just park my horse right there. And then, yeah, you can start at this pack right here and then move to this pack. Then we got this pack onwards. We move down the hill here. Okay. Don't judge me with my roll. Then we move to this one. Go to this one. So much fun. We even get a little bit of a mountain view right there. Look at that snowy white mountain view. Then we move to this one. And I'm running out of stamina. Then to that one. We're almost there. This one. This one. And then last one right here. And then we're back at the start. Right? So that's kind of the rotation. Obviously, you can go left, you can go right. Doesn't really matter. And here's my horse. So before you do your 1 hour here, all right, this has a really good daily quest, right? And that daily quest is going to be here at Tungrad Ruins, like the node right here. So give me a second and I'll run over there and I'll show you the quest. All right, so once you're here at the node, you're going to pick up the daily quest, right? So here's the guy, and there's three of them, okay? So this one here, you'll get 25. Actually, I should just go ahead and accept them, shouldn't I? So you'll get 25, and then this one, you'll get 10, and then this one, you'll get another 10. So what is that, 45? So it's 45 Caphras once you complete the 3 daily quests. Super easy, right? That's going to easily give you an additional, what, 90 to 100 million in total silver after your hour. I guess depending on the marketplace price of Caphras, which can range from like 2 million to 3 million, depending on depending on the time of the year. But either way, 45 Caphras, that's pretty solid. Like I said, that's going to give you an additional 90 to 100 million, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, so pick those up before you do the hour. Let me go ahead and head back to the grind spot. All right, so once you get to the spot, but before you even start it, just know that these mobs here, right, they're not gonna CC you. So you can really kind of focus on either stacking AP or stacking attack speed, depending on kind of where you fall at on that AP spectrum. In terms of mechanics, it's really straightforward, right? So the big idea is you're going to go to a pack, and within that pack, there's a specific mob called Visionary. Okay, and that Visionary mob is going to be pretty much highlighted by like a green title. All right. Once you get there, you're going to focus specifically on that mob, and once you get him to 90%, right? 90% health, that mob, that Visionary mob, will be vulnerable to CCs which at that point you will get a green debuff that will kill the surrounding mobs faster, which I think like once you get the surrounding mobs to like say I think it's like 30% of the health, they just instantly die. Right. So focus on the visionary mob first, and then the surrounding mobs will essentially blow up after a certain point, and then you just go pack to pack, right? You just follow that sequence. If you don't do the visionary mob mechanic, then the surrounding mobs are extremely tanky, and it's going to greatly affect your silver an hour, right? So it's going to take a massive hit if you don't focus on that visionary mob. At random times while you're grinding, kind of similar to like an event like at Darkseeker's Retreat, a big flying mob will kind of spawn over the pack that you just killed, right? And that big flying mob will spawn smaller, weaker mobs that will just give you more trash an hour. When that big flying mob spawns, just keep doing your normal rotation, and then when you come back, go ahead and do the event, right? Because if you sit there and wait for the flying mob to initially spawn the smaller, weaker mobs, then that's going to just cause you to get less trash loot, right? Because you have to sit there and wait. However, if you do a full circle and then you come back, that event is ready to pretty much just go, right? You don't have to wait and sit there and wait for the mobs to spawn. And that's going to allow you to be able to maximize the amount of loot that you can get. So, for instance, let's take a look here. So, if we go to the starting mob here, right? So, okay, I'm going to focus on the visionary mob. Okay, he gets down to 90%. You can see where he got CC'd there. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to do back attack damage. And then boom, they all explode, right? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next visionary mob right here. Okay, he gets down to 90%. He gets CC'd right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do back attack damage. Boom, they all explode, right? And you can see I get this debuff right here. Okay. Now, and then you would just, just do the full circle. Now, say, I come here and I don't focus the visionary mob, right? Look how tanky they are. See how much of a difference this is, right? It's taken me forever to try to kill these mobs. Okay. So that's why it's super important to focus on the visionary mob. You can see how long that took, right? And if I go back here and I focus right on that visionary mob again, boom, he gets CC'd right there. I do back attack damage and they all explode, right? So makes a huge difference on if you focus on the visionary mob or not. All right. So more of the story, focus on the visionary mob. All right. So let's look at the gear here. So if I pull up the Monster Zone info at this spot, maybe. All right. And then we look at view total stats. This is the AP minimum, and then that's the effective limit, right? So 1365 to 1395. Once you go over 1395, you're only going to get a 5% that excess of that's applied, right? So out of like Darkseeker's Retreat and Tungrad Ruins, I like this spot a little bit better. Like, I feel like there's no fear of really me potentially dying. And I would almost say the money per hour, which I'll talk a little bit later, but spoiler, I feel like it's a little bit better. In terms of buffs to run, right? So we'll look at the buffs, the crystals. So let me go ahead and go to the manor here, and then I'll go ahead and just get the buffs knocked out. So really nice to be a part of a guild. So you have access to the guild manor, which hopefully they put statues in there where you can get buffs, right? So if you go to your guild manor, hopefully you have these kind of statues. Like this tiger here gives you plus 11 AP. This guy over here gives you plus 15, plus 100. Now you can only get one of these, like one statue buff. But you'll get that, which I already have that one right here. So I'm not going to obviously use it again because I don't want to waste it. So there's that. That's the statue buff. And then we do the campsite, right? So the villa body enhancement, the church buffs, and I just do all three. Okay. Obviously the Vel's heart, right? The food, simple cron mill. And I believe that's mostly it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just know in my brain that I need to have 8 of these here. And then, okay, let me go ahead and exit back out here. Then in terms of like droughts, right? The spot is demi-human. So you probably will want to run a demi-human drought, right? So you would get 4 of these for an hour. Now if you're over, or let's say you're under the AP cap, right? If you're under the AP cap, then you could potentially do Perfume of Courage to give you plus 20 AP. If you're over the AP cap of the spot, then you could do the Deep Sea, right? And you can only do one or the other. So either Perfume of Courage or Perfume of Deep Sea. The nice one about this is because if you're over the AP cap, that's going to give you that extra like back attack damage, down attack damage, air attack damage percentage. It's also going to give you plus 10 AP as well. So you could do one of the other. And that's for the most part, most of the buffs. When it comes to crystals, there is 2 important things to recognize when it comes to crystals. Are you over the AP cap or are you under the AP cap, right? So this setup that I have currently is if I am over the AP cap, all right? And really the only difference is you're going to be running 2 of these crystals right here because it's going to give you 2% extra on attack and cast speed. Really, really important. And I'll just kind of scroll through this here real quick so you can kind of see all the ones that I have. All right. So this is if you're over the AP cap. With these 2, they could be changed out either for you can either keep it with the Crystal of Mysterious Darkness with the back attack damage. I personally like that better. However, if your class is maybe not as good with back attack damage, then you might switch it out for 2 corrupt crystals. Okay. So it just kind of depends on your class. Me personally, I like to keep this with the Crystal of Mysterious Darkness for the back attack damage. Now, if you are under the AP cap, this might be the setup to run. Okay. The only thing that changes between these 2 is with this one, rather than the attack and cast speed, you're going to be running this type of crystal where you're going to get more extra AP against monsters. So it's going to give me plus 12 more AP towards monsters. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the only difference for what I run if I'm over or under the AP cap. All right. And with the artifacts, so let's see here. Okay, so if you're over the AP cap, you might want to run Vicious Shadows, which you can see here. I'm getting this is why I like back attack damage modifiers, because look, I'm getting another plus 5% back attack damage, right? So, and you're getting critical hit damage plus 2%. However, if you are under the AP cap, then this might be the Lightstone combination that you want to run all out attack, which is going to give you plus 20 AP. All right. So really just kind of depends on where your AP is at and in terms of like what buffs you might run and what artifacts and Lightstone combination you might run and crystals. All right, so let's take a quick look here at the loot table for Tungrad Ruins. So, first one here, we got Spectre's Energy, easy 30 million. You can sell it to the vendor, or you can use it to craft Black Star gear, weapons. Blackstones, obviously, make you can sell this in the marketplace, or you can make fail stacks with them. The the fragment here, so this is going to be used to craft the Visionary Crystal of Elklar. So that's going to give you plus, I think it's like plus 30 accuracy or something like that with the crystal. Sealed black magic crystal. I tell you this this item here blows my mind with the price. So right now I think it's like actually like maxed out, like with like 6 million. Where I think like a year ago this thing was like 300,000 or 400,000 on the marketplace. So yeah, obviously all of these are kind of marketplace dependent. Um, the Tungrad's Ruins paint, yeah, you might get one every 15 hours. Who knows? But yeah, you just use that to recharge your landscape to hopefully try to get treasure items at other places. Speaking of the treasure items, so this place is going to drop 2 of the 3 telescope parts, which by the way, ya boy ended up getting, oh wait, ended up getting his own upgraded telescope. Let's go. I think I maybe put like 30, 40 hours into it, and somehow I ended up getting the telescope. So like while I was doing the Dark Seekers video and this video, I ended up getting this, which is pretty wild. But yeah, so Tungrad Ruins, that's going to drop 2 of the 3, and then Dark Seekers is going to drop the other one. I think is it this one? I believe it's, or is it this one? Hold on, let's figure it out. It's going to. Okay, so yeah. So this one, so you have these 2 here, and then Dark Seekers is going to drop this one. So that's the 3. All right, that's the 3 pieces that you need to get your upgraded telescope. Then you have the Essence of Devouring. That's going to allow you to craft the Origin of Dark Hunger, which is this guy right here. Now, these numbers can get kind of inflated because of the Origin of Dark Hunger, because it just sits on the market. Same thing with the Embers as well. So you have to take that into consideration with the total silver an hour, is because of these 2 items. Like they just don't sell. They just kind of sit on the marketplace. The Forgotten Limbo box, this was kind of changed recently, but this will just give you, you just click it and it'll just give you a Debo accessory. Then you have the Ancient Magic Crystal of Nature, Giant. Nothing too crazy there. Ancient Spirit Dust, obviously, going to give you Caphras. And then we get to the Tungrad Ruins Fragment Trash, which is 35,100. So yeah, most of your money is going to be coming from the trash. Some from the Caphras, especially if you do the daily quest, that's going to give you 45 Caphras. And then the Sealed Black Magic Crystal, the Blackstone, and the Spectre's Energy. Oh, and Trace of Nature. Yeah, that's just another resource that you'll get here. But yeah, overall, not bad at all. All right, so let's take a look here at the silver an hour at Tungrad Ruins. So let's look at the global lab first. You can see that the average is 2.5 billion, with the average trash being around 47K. The nice thing, because they kind of just recently upgraded this, the nice thing here is you actually kind of see the split. So you can see that the trash, you're getting about 1.6 billion. Essence of Devouring, right? We're not going to really factor that because it just sits on the market. Sealed Black Magic Crystal, 170 million. And then, you can just kind of go from there. So just kind of pretty much raw trash, you're getting like 1.6, 1.7 billion and just trash. Yeah, that's the average. So if we look at and this is at 180% with Agris turned on, obviously. but 180% drop rate. Now, if we look at mine, which again, yeah, actually all of these hours is like at 180%. You can see, so I did 4 hours with Agris and I was pretty consistent, 45, 47. The best hour that I ended up getting was 49,000, which is really good, right? And you can clearly see 2.65 billion. Again, you got to kind of take away these right here. But once you take away that, I think it was like right at 2 billion silver. I did an hour without Agris, and you can see I got 27,000 in total trash and right at like 1.4 billion. So, and actually, I didn't actually get any Essence of Devouring either that hour. So, this is a pretty consistent money per hour here because there's really nothing inflated with the Embers or the Essence of Devouring or Origin of Dark Hunger. So, yeah, pretty much 1.4 billion without Agris. So I feel like that's pretty good as well. But really, really solid spot. Um, the silver per hour is kind of similar to Darkseeker's Retreat, but I would say that, in my opinion, this spot just feels better. And I feel like you don't necessarily have to like worry about potentially dying. Um, So yeah, I definitely prefer Tungrad Ruins over Darkseeker's Retreat, and I feel like the money or the silver an hour is a little bit better here at Tungrad Ruins compared to Darkseeker's Retreat. But yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you tried out this spot? Did you like it? Do you prefer Darkseekers or Tungrad Ruins? Like, which one do you prefer? But as always, thanks for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Sunsets on black